As of right now, there are 100 days until GCSEs begin, and I'm here to tell you what you need to do during those 100 days to maximize your grades. Hello everyone, my name's Elliot Naquilo, aka Study L, and I achieved mostly 9's at my GCSEs. Therefore, I feel like I'm qualified to tell you everything you need to do to achieve the same grades, or at least to do as best as you possibly can. Let's get straight into the video. Now, we have 100 days left until GCSEs begin. The first thing I would suggest you to use is a retrospective revision timetable. This is better explained by people like Udo Fintelman or Ali Abdal, but basically the gist of it is you have a list of topics based on one subject, and every single time you revise one subtopic in that subject, you mark off the day that you did it, and then you put in a color for how well you found revising it. So like red, yellow, or green. And so the next time you want to revise, you look at your list, you look at the things you've already revised, and you think, I did this ages ago and it's yellow, so maybe I need to go through it again. Or I did this not too long ago and it's green, so clearly I don't need to go over it again in a while. This is the best way to make sure that you're not wasting time with topics that you know very well, and that you're maximizing the amount of time that you're spending on topics that you don't know that well. And it was very useful to me during my A-level mocks. I also really wish I used it during GCSE, but I didn't. Now, these next tips are focused mainly on English. Now's the time to start memorizing the quotes from your different texts. So start making flashcards on those quotes, like just have the quote and maybe have like a gap in the quotes, like, oh, let me think of one off the top of my head. In fact, let me just make one up because I did GCSEs ages ago. Study L likes to study. Take out the study part and you've just got Study L likes to in the flashcard. Then your answer to that flashcard will be study. So it makes sure that you know your quotes really well, basically. And now's the time to start memorizing them, because come GCSE time, you want to fully know a good amount of quotes that you can use in your essays. At this point in time, past papers should be your best friend. They're the best resource you could possibly be using to get ready for your GCSEs now. Now, I'm not telling you because of mocks, oh, don't use your past papers yet, because then you might accidentally do really well on mocks that you weren't supposed to do well on. No, mocks are over. You need to get on these GCSEs and get through every single past paper. What I'd advise is to make a list of all the past papers that exist for a specific subject, and then when you go over any of those past papers, you take them off, just so you're making sure you're not going over past papers that you've already gone through. And if you do want to go over past papers, you know which ones you've gone through, so you can go over them again if you wish. Basically, what I want you to do is that I want you to make sure that you've gone over every single past paper, yes, every single one for the subject that you can possibly go through. And if you run out of past papers and you really don't want to repeat any for a specific subject that you know you need to practice more on, then go onto a different exam board and use those past papers, because 9 times out of 10, questions will be similar. Not the same, but they'll definitely be similar. Also, a very useful thing for you to do is to keep track of your scores in those past papers and also the dates that you did them, just so you know whether you're improving or not as you go along your past papers. Now, this portion is specifically poetry, but you should start deciding which poems are your favorites. Yes, your favorite poems. And so based on those favorites, start deciding which ones you'd like to analyze the best if something came up. And out of your favorites, you should decide which ones you'd like to analyze the best during your exams. So for example, say, and this is for Power and Conflict, AQA, say My Last Duchess came up, and you can make a really good comparison with that and Ozymandias. I'd start analyzing those two poems now. Now, you don't have to memorize the entire poem, but you just need to start memorizing your favorite poems. And by memorize, I mean just getting loads of quotes from those poems, and especially the ones that you can analyze a lot from, and just starting to get them into your memory. Make sure you choose poems that go well together and you don't leave any themes out. For example, theme of love or theme of power. Make sure you get poems into each theme so that you don't miss any out and you're ready for whatever an exam question might ask you. But don't go through every single poem, because I feel like that's just useless, basically. For example, during my GCSEs, I did not look at tissues at all. And I know that's because tissues is tissues, but if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then this sounds really stupid, but Tissues was just an irrelevant poem, but we still technically needed to know it. But if it did come up in the exam, I don't think it ever would have, then... Also, I'm putting in the middle of this video to make sure you subscribe, please, because, just subscribe. I'm trying to hit 3,000 subscribers, just in general, so please subscribe if you want. Anyways, back to the video. Did I click the record button? Yes, I did. Another thing that is very useful in terms of maths is Corbett maths, and I feel like I say this all the time, but no one starts using it, but I promise it's so useful. But we've got 100 days, and Corbett maths has this really cool thing where it does a maths 5 a day for different levels of GCSE maths. And basically you can just go on, and every single day it will have a set of 5 questions, or sometimes it's not 5 questions, but it will have a set of questions that doesn't take too long, and you can just go through them and mark them and just see how well you do. And it's just refreshing your maths knowledge every single day. So for example, maybe in those 5 questions one day you do trigonometry and you realize, wait, I'm doing really bad at this and I got the question wrong. Maybe that day you can revise trigonometry and it can influence what you revise. I found it so useful during GCSE, and I wish I used it more because I found it late into my GCSE, so I didn't use it enough. But it is so useful, and now that we have 100 days left, this is the resource you should be using if you want to keep up with your maths knowledge and making sure you're not leaving any gaps. Also, for every single subject, this may seem like a lot. I have told you stuff that would take a lot of time, but if you feel you want to add more to your plan of things that you're going to do during this 100 days, a thing that I would really recommend is going through your specification and really looking at each and every single topic and subtopic and just taking off, oh, okay, I know this, I know this, I know this, just so you can see and have a physical copy of what you know and what you don't know, and therefore you can really hone in on what you don't know and revise it better. Also, specifications are just so useful at GCSE. You will not get them like that at A-level, because at A-level the content is just there's just way more. So really make use of them at GCSE because they are way less useful at A-level, in my opinion. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that discipline is so much more important than motivation, at least to me. Well, to a lot of people actually. Discipline is so important when you're trying to get yourself to get up every single day and do work for these GCSEs that you need to do well on. And you can rely on motivation on some days to boost your efforts in terms of revision. For example, if you're lying in bed and you're like, oh, I really don't want to revise, you'd be like, and then you'll be scrolling and then you see, I don't know, a TikTok about being motivated and you're like, okay, you know what, I'm motivated, let's get up and do something. That's not reliable, okay? You can't rely on motivation, but you can rely on discipline. If you decide right now, okay, I'm going to be disciplined, every single day I'm going to do at least something and just keep on being consistent instead of just relying on the sways of your emotions, then you'll get a lot more done. And it's such a good thing to develop right now because you're going to really need that discipline during A-levels or whatever you're doing in the future, because I know not everyone does A-levels. I'm pretty sure those are all my points for this video. I really hope that they were helpful in any way. GCSEs are more important than a lot of people think they are. A lot of universities don't consider them, but the universities that do, really good ones, will consider them. And they don't allow you into certain A-levels if you don't get certain GCSE grades. And also, if you don't end up doing A-levels at all, or BTECs, or apprenticeship, then GCSEs are your only form of qualifications, so you really want to make sure you do well on them. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I will be making one of these for A-levels as well, for all the A-level people that are for some reason watching this video. So make sure you like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.